Hello, third graders. Today we'll be learning about the fraction pillar in our math lesson. We'll actually be learning about fractions, but we'll be using our friend the caterpillar to help us. We'll be covering Iowa Core Math Standard number 3 NFA, which states that the student should be able to understand a fraction 1 over b as a quantity formed by one part, when a whole part is portioned into b equal parts, and to understand a fraction a over b as a quantity formed by parts of size a over b. So today, we're wondering why are we learning this, and we're going to break it down and to make it easier to understand exactly what we're talking about. So our learning goal is to be able to recognize and understand that fractions are equal parts of a whole, which basically covers the standard that we were talking about. The purpose is to introduce a basic understanding of fractions. Students will learn that one piece of a whole is one part, and all of the pieces together equal one whole. And then we'll be using a caterpillar to help us understand this. So by the end, the student will understand the fractions are equal parts of a whole. To understand what we're going for, we need to understand some basic definitions. So we will highlight that we're learning about definitions. The first is that we need to understand the size of each part in one whole. So we know that one whole equals 1. And so for us to have equal parts of a whole, they each have to have a value as well. So to figure out what each value is, we will understand that it is 1 over b. And to understand that, we first will understand the definition of a fraction, which is part of the whole. So if we had a pizza, each piece of pizza is a fraction of the pizza. Each fraction has a numerator and has a denominator. The numerator is the number of parts. So if we had 3 pieces of pizza, it would be 3 because there are 3 parts, and the denominator is the number of equal parts to make one whole, which in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there are 6 parts to equal one pizza. So 6 over 6 equals one whole. Each part being size 1 over b, or 1/6. That is why there's 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and so on. Now that we understand the basic ideas of different pieces of a fraction, we can figure out, using these circles, what fraction these circles represent. So the value of each is, we're going to understand that each equals one part of the whole. So 1, can't really see that, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 circles. So that's the value of each, is that there are 5 circles, so each is 1, because that's the number of parts, over 5, number of equal parts. So there are 5 parts total when you add all of them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the whole is 5, because 5 over 5 equals 1. So each part represents its own piece, and altogether they equal 1. So from here, we're able to see that we're going to practice. So we're going to use our lovely friend the caterpillar to help us out. So we're first going to look and count how many pieces there are in the entire caterpillar. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 whole pieces. And we understand that each circle represents one piece of the whole. And they are all the same size. They're all equal parts of the whole. So we could say that each is size 1/6. So now things are going to get a little bit complicated when we ask what color each fraction is. So if I were to ask what fraction of the whole the yellow circle is, we would see that there's one part of the entire 6, so 1/6 of the whole. If I were to ask what blue, we see that each has its own equal part of the fraction, however there are 2. so it's 2/6. And then green, there's 1 of the entire whole, which is 1/6. And then pink, which is 1 of the entire whole, which is 1/6. When you add all of these together, 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, you get, oh, and we forgot purple. I was wondering why there was a mistake. Plus 1/6. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Don't need to count that one. This was our unit, but we can just pretend that was the purple, which equals 6/6, which is 1. So altogether, all of these pieces equal 1, which is the basic idea of what the standard is trying to get us to learn. We're trying to learn that each equal part of a fraction has its own equal part, but altogether it equals 1. You can think of this in your own family. So for example, there are 5 people in my family, and I am one of the 5 people. That means that I am one piece of the whole out of the 5 to equal 1 whole. But when my whole family is together, there are 5 people equaling 5 of the whole, which equals 1 whole family. Now we understand the basic ideas of fractions. I hope you have a great rest of your 3rd grade.